time to take a look at all the stories making the headlines on the business front. And Emmanuel Abuajiriafe joins me in the studio. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi.
Okay, so what has necessitated government's decision to renegotiate this Sankofa oil deal?
Well, last year when the deal was brokered or was signed, conditions there at that time were different from now. There was a price crash for crude oil products, and the price was very, very low. At that time, the condition under which that agreement was signed wouldn't have brought enough benefits to the country. So it requires, in fact, ASEP and other think tanks all advocated for a renegotiation of the deal. Okay. So it's long overdue, and government has heard our cry.
Okay, give us the rest of the details.
All right, thank you very much, and thanks for joining me on Business. Government has hinted of plans to call for a renegotiation of the Sankofa oil and gas deal signed early this year to commence the development of the integrated oil and gas project offshore Cape 3 Points. This, according to the Deputy Minister for Petroleum, Benjamin Dagadu, has become crucial to ensure the country derives maximum benefits from the project. Some industry watchers, like ASEP, had called for a relook at the financial terms in respect of return on investment and the negotiated price for gas from the Sankofa fields. But Mr. Dagadu tells Joy Business the conditions that informed the earlier signing have changed significantly.
They have made some savings. We signed the agreement, the PA, under some terms, oil prices and others. At that time, drilling costs were also very high. The rate, some $650,000 per day. But when the oil price went down, everybody had to squeeze himself. All the services companies will have to have a haircut. So once they had a haircut, we also have to benefit from it. So we will be looking at that later.
But have you communicated this to them?
No, Petroleum Commission approves every contract that they sign. So they know whichever contract they want to sign. The Petroleum Commission is following up on all those contracts and the reductions. Because they have renegotiated, they have to pass it to us.
But they just recently, the GMPC got a guarantee from the World Bank.
Yeah, but the World Bank is also part of it. So we'll revisit the PAs.
And what is your expectation if we revisit it?
In some of the contracts, we might get about 10%, some 20% reduction. So,
wow, and are we able to put that in value terms?
We have to look at the individual contracts.
Government says port revenue has started picking up a year after implementation of the National Single Window System. Deputy Minister for Finance, Mona Korte, reveals this to Joy Business at the inauguration of Ghana Revenue Authority's Electronic Payment Zone, or E-Zone, in Accra. There's more in this Business Desk report.
The Ghana Revenue Authority's Electronic Payment Zone, or E-Zone, has been inaugurated in Accra as part of initiatives to boost government's revenue mobilization drive. This is coming after the introduction of the Single Window Scheme in September last year to serve as a common platform for stakeholders to process documents. This is said to have facilitated trade by reducing cost and time spent on import, export, and transit trade. Speaking to Joy Business at the inauguration of the Electronic Payment Zone, E-Zone, Deputy Finance Minister Mona Korte was confident the trend would continue. She started by first describing the relevance of E-Zone facility.
The important thing about the E-Zone is that it gives integrated information so that at any point in time, any businessman who is doing business here knows where their goods are, knows what they must do, whether it's a certain document that they need to hand in or to process, but they know. For me, the important thing is that there's clarity on the process and on the system for doing international business. In terms of revenue, we started last year after a very major desk study and case study and how do we call them, country visits to Nigeria. We had also, of course, heard what had happened in Cote d'Ivoire, but Nigeria is the largest market, and that's where, if you really want to study for West Africa, you go to. And we went there, and West Blue had done the same for them in terms of starting their single window, and they told us what to expect, and true to form what they told us to expect happened. They said initially you will see a drop in your revenues because people are getting used to the new system. They've always been used to the fragmented one, but then the revenues will pick up, and I'm glad to say that revenues have started to pick up.
The Electronic Payment Zone is an initiative of the Ghana Revenue Authority in consultation with West Blue Consulting. The structures are located at the Tema Port, Kotoka International Airport, and the Customs Technical Service Bureau. The authority hopes to expand the facility to other parts of the country in due course.
The economy is still fragile, sick, and exposed to some external shocks that could affect efforts to stabilize it anytime soon. That is the assessment of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISA, after the release of its flagship publication, State of the Ghanaian Economy. Executive Director of the Institute, Professor Felix Asante, tells Joy Business the situation calls for some drastic measures to stabilize.
That is a fundamental cause of all the problems that we have. The spillover of the last election, 2012, we are still paying for, in quotes, the sense of what we did over expenditure.
But some will say that. So do you think that is the state of our economy from your assessment, that yes, there's been some progress, but the threats are still there in the area of overruns, that these are the basic challenges for our economy as we speak right now?
Yes, there are overruns. I mean, in our presentation, we looked at all the sectors. Our focus was more on the fiscal development and the monetary development, because we see these two sectors as very key to propel the traditional three sectors: agriculture, industry, and services. So the fiscal and monetary policy issues were of great concern in our presentation this year, even though we tackled every aspect of the economy, because we've noticed that putting a lot of emphasis on agriculture, industry, and services without looking at the fundamentals, it's not helpful.
You talk about the expenditure, and is it about that from your assessment you are seeing a different picture? Because government is saying that the deficit is reducing, we are making progress in payment, we are making progress in expenditure and all those things. So why is it that from your assessment the threat is that we're still spending too much as against not getting enough revenue?
The revenue issue has been something we've been talking of in the past, that we should broaden our tax net. Now, the few people on government payroll or in jobs that are identified are paying the tax. The majority of Ghanaians who are in the informal sector, we are not getting them to pay what is due to the state. So the issue is broadening up the tax base will help us.
Clearing agents are expressing worry about the new terminal handling charges still being charged by some shipping lines at the country's ports. The Transport Minister Fifi Kwete early this month called for the abolition of the new terminal handling charges after some key business associations, including the AGI and the Chamber of Mines, had earlier kicked against the charges. However, reports say some shipping lines are still charging these illegal fees. According to the key business associations, this is a show of disrespect to the Transport Minister's instructions. Spokesperson for the associations, Adobia Asiama Abuaji, spoke on the marketplace.
It's surprising. It's surprising that shipping lines having representatives here, corporate head in Ghana, can just blatantly flout the minister's directive, and that is why we have made this known to the ministry so that the necessary action would be taken. Because we are here in Ghana, and it doesn't make meaning why an entity can just flout the minister's directive, can go ahead and charge, when actually the charge in itself is not justified. It is the nature of the process is such that until the shipping line releases your cargo, you don't have access to the cargo at the terminal. And when you go to the lines and you pay your charges, except for the terminal handling, they refuse to release the cargo. They insist that you pay the terminal handling charge before they release the cargo to you. And this is what is forcing shippers pay under process. Because at the end of the day, if you hold on to it, you would incur what we call demurrage or the container detention charge, which the shipping line take again. And then you are likely to also incur the ground rent or storage at the terminal. So we are forced to pay under process. But I think it's about time the ministry takes some kind of action, because I don't think the minister's word should be flouted blatantly like that. It shows disrespect, and this cannot be done in their home country.
Adobia Esiama Abuaji is a spokesperson for key business associations at the ports. And that ends business for now. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Wiafe. For more business, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Up next.